Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. We are back with the season finale of Couples Retreat. If you are new here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews with a little bit of laughter and a little bit of shade and a whole lot of detail. If you're back for a second or third time, then welcome back. Y'all, please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. Now, y'all, let's get into it if we gonna get into it. Okay, so the finale was a two-part, 2-hour finale. We didn't need it, okay? So just get to the meat and potatoes of the foolery of it all. But we gonna go through it. So let's get into it. When the episode first opens up, Styles and Ajua meet up with Shamari and Ronnie because they want to talk about last night. And Ajua tells them they're still working through it, but quite frankly, I think Styles and Ajua need some grief counseling. I don't know if they've done that before, but I think maybe that would help. No, I know that would help. So Styles is saying, they've been through a lot. Okay, they could have broken up, but they're pushing through it. In the next scene, Daniel goes to meet with AJ, and she's telling him what they can work on. But she also wanted to know a little bit about his childhood. So he tells her that his mom was single and, he never met his dad. His mom contracted HIV in the 80s and she never showed affection because, in the 80s, they would say, don't touch him or don't hug him or don't kiss him because you can get it. There was a lot of misinformation. So the way that his mom handled it was by handling them with the long handled spoon, just basically stay back because I don't want my children to get sick. So he said his mom lived 12 years with the disease and he made an effort to not raise his son the way that he was raised. But what confuses me is if you felt abandonment and your mom wasn't affectionate and you made it a point to not raise your son that way, then why are you treating Jess like trash? Okay, that don't make no sense to me. But, I see more of why he has this wall up. I understand the affection part, but what about the douchebaggery? Okay, which part is that? That may be, I don't know which half of the family that came from, but baby, you acting ass every time you get on screen. But I do appreciate him letting us in and letting his walls down. And now it explains why he's not affectionate with Jess, why he doesn't kiss, why he doesn't touch. He didn't receive that. So that's not an easy thing for him to give. To go through all that and not even be able to get a hug or a kiss from your mom, it's no wonder he doesn't appreciate affection. It's no excuse for his behavior, but now I understand it a little bit better. Moving forward. In the next scene, nasally Nick and Kiana are back, and he said his dad survived in health scare. And I'm so happy to hear that he did survive because I was wondering about that. So he said his dad is good, and he thought that since his dad was okay, they could come back to the retreat for them to work on their issues. So, they had some breakthroughs before they left, so let's see if they're still on track. So, child, as Kiana is talking to Nick in this scene, y'all, Nick is tearing this watermelon up. Do y'all hear me? Baby, watermelon is having a hell of a time this week. Do y'all hear me? Y'all gonna leave this watermelon off my screen. Oh, child, I don't want to see now another black person sit around and annihilate some watermelon, honey. Y'all are violating it at this point. So they're talking about what more they have to work on and the progress that they need to make. And Kiana feels like she's not able to speak up and speak her speech because every time she does that, Nick feels challenged and he feels like she's changing. That's because now he ain't on top. See, when he was America's Next Top Basketball Player, it was fine. But now that you're trying to do things to better yourself, all of a sudden you're changing. No, you just want me to sit idly by while you continue to do nothing. Okay, because now the tables have turned. Girl, don't let him fool you. So the couples go to the chairs, and y'all know how they do. They ask questions, and they ask each other, are you emotionally hanging on to things, or are you quick to let them go? So KJ said it depends. You cheating, I'm out of here. Oh, no, that's right, y'all. If you go with somebody else, you can forget me. Michael said he forgives, but he doesn't forget. Jess said if someone hurts her emotionally, she still holds on to it. Jess, same here, sis. Same here. Like, I have to really process the apology because why did you think it was okay to play with me to begin with? Like, if you really care about me, why are you playing in my face? So for me, it takes me a little minute to kind of process that you apologize to me and I need to sit with it and then I will forgive it. I'm not one of those people, I'm sorry. Okay, it's cool. Let's go. No, you apologize, but you played in my face and don't think I forgot. Moving forward. Oh, and Claudia says she also hangs on to things. In the next scene, the men are working out and Nick is back with the fellas and they're asking him about his dad, and in comes AJ doing her hip hop house party moves. I said, all right, AJ. Baby, let me tell y'all something. AJ came in there with them guns out, lifting weights, kicking ass, and taking names. When I tell you she was having a conversation with Ronnie, she lifting at the same time. She lifting and Ronnie is venting. I said, baby, they can't handle AJ. She was literally more muscular than almost any man in the gym. Probably all of them. Now that I'm thinking about it. So she's lifting and Ronnie is venting. And he said he forgives, Shamari for the just mess. But it's always in the back of his mind that she's going to mess with another woman. Like, there's no way for you to not know. So AJ brings to Nick's attention that Kiana doesn't even look at him when she speaks to him due to hurt. And I didn't notice that. But when they did the flashbacks, I was like, she is absolutely right. So Nick is saying, he's going to work on being there for her because he loves her. I'm sorry, this is the last episode, so let me say it like Nick was saying. I will work on being there for her. I love her. I want to work on being there because I love her. Because when I had love her, I was working on being there for her. Okay, sir. Okay, we got it, child. Oh, nasally Nick, child, please. In the next scene, AJ does a one-on-one with Ronnie to talk to him about, how uncomfortable he is with Shamari drinking. So Ronnie talks to her about how he feels with Shamari and her approach to their relationship when she drinks. He said he hasn't fully forgiven her. Well, child, we know that. Listen, I saw that on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, and I knew that was probably the reason that Shamari had a one-and-done season. Quite frankly, I think they did invite Shamari back, and I think she may have said that, and she declined. But the reason is because of how she got caught up at that no wig party over at Nene's house when she was groping Eva and fondling Tanya. So I really feel like Ronnie was like, listen, you starting to get a little bit out of touch. I need to keep you in this bubble. Because every time I let you loose, you get to drinking and you be over there with them women, honey. It's good. I've been drinking. Shout out to Beyonce. So he said he's worried that she might want to step out with another female. Ronnie, that is no way to continue a marriage. Eventually, those thoughts are going to overpower you. So, y'all going to have to do something. So he reveals to AJ that he's very cautious with his love for Shamari. And AJ was like, does she know that? I don't think she knows that. And of course he said, I don't think she does. She doesn't know that. So then AJ asked him if being cautious with his love was betrayal. And he said, in a sense, because I'm kind of holding back. So she tells him that he's going to have to make, her aware of the situation, and they're going to have the tough conversations. In the next scene, all the couples get together to have a little fun. The dancing is a little bit questionable. I was like, what are these moves, child? What are these moves? The women are asking Rada about her ring. Child, don't ask Rada nothing about this ring, honey. Because Kiana was like, what makes you sell the ring? And Rada was like, no, I just give it back. Girl, anyway, outside, the men are talking about marriage and how their wives went about asking them and telling them, hey, piss or get off the pot. Are you going to marry me or not? So they all talking about that, honey. Daniel ain't got nothing to say, child. He's standing over there close to the balcony. Inside, the ladies are talking about Kiana and Nick and what they still need to work on. And so then they bring it over to her ring. And here go Claudia. KJ, you want to see a ring? Claudia, he's seen a ring before. And let me just tell you this. At your big grown age, honey, I don't know if none of your friends are telling you or what. Please don't do this man like this. Because if he gives you a ring under duress, he's going to take it back because he's not ready for that. And if he does marry you, it will be a life of resentment and hell. And every time you get into an argument, he will make sure to remind you that he didn't want to marry you no way. So please let that man come to the conclusion of loving you and marrying you on his damn own. Moving forward. Back outside, the men are like, KJ, it's your turn. It's your turn to get married. He was like, I don't want to be rushed into marriage. I was married for 12 years and it really changed how I viewed relationships. And I learned to take things slow. Well, Charlie definitely did that same thing to me because now I view marriage totally different. And I do believe that you can love someone and not have to marry them. And that's how I feel about it, honey. But, I'm working through it in therapy and whatnot. In the next scene, it's time for an exercise with AJ. Honey, y'all know how it is. She's going to bring the darkness to light. So all of them are meeting, right? AJ tells them this is an exercise to shine a light on their own truths. So she wants to know if there's anything that Jess and Daniel need to discuss, because they're the first two people in the hot seat. So AJ goes, Daniel, do you love her? Here go Jess in the confessional. Now, why would you ask this ninja if he loved me? When I tell y'all I hollered, I'm like, okay, AJ, you know dang on well he is quick to embarrass Jess. Do not ask him that. He already told us in multiple different ways, honey, 40 different languages, that he does not love Jess. So why would you ask this man that? So he says, he has a lot of love for her, and it can grow eventually with patience. How much patience y'all need, bruh? How much? Okay? My patience has run thin just watching you. And you want her to give you more patience? Y'all ain't got time. So he apologizes for the way that he made Jess feel, because he was like, you know what, I'm afraid to love because of my mom. He said once his mom passed from HIV, it was the first time that he experienced abandonment. And because of that, he's afraid to love anyone because he doesn't want to feel abandoned. I totally get that. That was great that he was able to be vulnerable, but you still need to make sure not to mistreat Jess because of your childhood. At some point, we have to unpack that. So while you're walking around with gold chains and gold teeth, you need to sit down with somebody and actually let those things out so that you can treat other people like a human being. I understand that, but I still don't condone your behavior. So then it's Michael and Rhoda's turn. They're next. And he talks about his mom and his childhood and how his mom went back to Africa. And he said he was honest with her about not being a one-woman man, and she accepted it. So then AJ was like, Rhoda, do you understand that he's not changing? Some kind of way, Rhoda is still going to rationalize staying with him. So who cares? Child, let's move on. So then we move on to Shamari and Ronnie. So he tells her he's cautious with his love, and he holds things back. And she was like, why? So he brings up the alcohol and her smacking women's behinds when she gets drunk. And she's like, well, it was just fun. Well, it's not fun for your husband to watch you do something that's threatening to his manhood. He already knows how you feel about women. So when you do that, those feelings come flooding back. So he was like, I hear you, but I don't know if I can trust you. Child, I hope she's not shocked by that news, because honey, I'm not. So Shamari tells him that she doesn't want to hurt him. She apologizes to him and tells him that she only wants him. Honey, I'm not buying it. So in her confessional, she was like, I see that it goes beyond the drinking. It's about the women. Shamari, but you knew that, which is why you kept repeating, I don't want a woman. I'm not attracted to women. You knew that. Girl, what? So then Styles P and Ajua, they come up, and she said she needs to work on, them cutting off work and having more time to be intimate with each other. Child, I ain't giving nothing. Over to Claudia and KJ, she's pissed about him joking about marrying her. She says she feels like no matter what she does, she will not be good enough for him. So then AJ asked her, when would she feel like she's had enough and just walk away from KJ? And Claudia said, well, I told my best friend that I'm going to walk away at the end of the year. So, of course, KJ didn't know that. You better get it together or leave it alone, honey. So AJ asked KJ, was Claudia the girl for him? And he said, yes, but nobody wants to hear but. She's like, listen, if you want perfection, I'm not the woman for you. Like, I get that enough from everybody else, from Hollywood, from social media. I don't want that from my man. If you want perfect, I'm not your wife. And you know what? I respect it, because why should she be the only one making concessions? What is it that you came here for? You need to change as well. You're not perfect. So if you're expecting perfection from her, then that's unrealistic. So AJ asked Claudia if she felt worthy of love. And she took a long pause. He said, you are worthy of love, and I love you. You know what? I feel you, Claudia, because I have the same, question. I wonder sometime after all the relationships that I've gone through and all of the turmoil, if I was actually worthy of love, after all that hurt. But Claudia, I'm speaking directly to you. You are. Okay. We are. And whoever is listening to this, if you're questioning it, you are. Just so we're clear. Now it's time for Nick and Kiana. Nasally Nick said Kiana has insecurities from him being selfish, and she wants him to make her feel like she was enough because she felt like she wasn't when he went over there with IGGY. Y'all know who that is. Iggy. So AJ encourages him to ask her if she feels like she's enough. So he asked her, And of course, she said no because of all of the years of social media abuse and people berating her and beating her down for taking him back. And even though she tries to remain strong, it's still hard on her. So he apologized to her because he was just happy that she took him back without questioning him. You see how selfish that is? I'm just happy she took me back. And that's how men think. I'm going to go out here and dog you and do what I'm going to do. But I'm just happy she took me back. I'm happy she was dumb enough to take me back. Why do we always have to go through suffrage, honey, before we get our reparations? I don't want my relationship reparations from you after you done got through dragging me through the mud. You little nasally twerp. Anyway, he was saying something else, but closed caption didn't pick it up, child. Moving forward. She says she still hasn't forgiven him for that public embarrassment. And I totally get that. An apology will never erase that embarrassment and hurt. It just won't. So everyone is doing confessional cams about the night's events, and we're on day 9. It's the final day of the couples retreat, and Jess and Daniel are talking about last night. And, he was talking, and she was like, so what did you think about last night? And, he was saying whatever it is he said. And she said she doesn't know if she wants to hang on and teach him how to love. I don't know, honey. He is giving music soul child tease, but I wouldn't be teaching around showing him the way to surrender his heart because, girl, he's so lost. Hell no. Moving forward. In the next scene, John and Sally arranged for each couple to have a photo shoot. And Claudia and KJ are first. Claudia, what are you wearing? Honey, it's making me think of that bob from Puerto Rico. Honey, sometimes you just get it wrong. What's wrong with a bob? Something. Hers is completely folded under. Claudia, this sparkly jumpsuit with this belt, honey, it was giving foolery, okay? So then Shamari and Ronnie, they show up in all white. Let me tell y'all something. Shamari has really stepped up her fashion game. Y'all remember all season long on season 11 when they made fun of her style? Baby, she said not no more. I know that's right, Shamari. So they both take their pictures. Ronnie and Shamari's pictures were really cute. So then the rest of the couples come and they take their photos. Child, not Rhoda pretending to get a ring back on one of her pictures. And girl, quit playing. So then Jess comes in with Daniel. And baby, she is not having it. The way Jess was taking these pictures, y'all know what she reminded me of? She is like that one child that you cannot get to act right to take the family photo. And when they finally smile, it's a fool. That's how Jess was. That's how Jess was looking. Jess was barely smiling, honey. She would not sit still. She would not cooperate, honey. She was not there for the mess. Back on the other side, AJ meets with Kiana, and she's asking her who she is outside of Nick. And she said, I couldn't even tell you. Okay, I've lost myself with this relationship and with my children. I don't even know who I am. In the middle of them talking, here comes Nick. No, they needed solo sessions. That's the problem now. She's always sacrificing her time and everything that has to do with her for Nick. So Nick comes in and he gets emotional because he isn't playing basketball anymore. He's crying. And I know it's hard for him coming off the height of your career and being in the spotlight and, to just being a normal guy and living a normal life, but you're more than just that sport. That's not your identity. That's something that you're good at, but that's not who you are. In the next scene, Jess and Daniel, they're talking, and Jess doesn't know if she wants to renew Daniel's contract. Honey, I know I wouldn't. It's time for the contract negotiations. Claudia and KJ are first. AJ tells them what they uncovered after working with them, and she wants to know what the terms of the new contract will be. Claudia wants them to be more serious and not joke about everything, and she said she needs to cut off social media at 11 p.m. I don't even do that myself. So she also says she needs to be on track to marriage in order for them to stay together. So then they awkwardly kissed, and AJ let them go. Child, a whole waste of time. They ain't learned not nothing. Moving forward, time for Rhoda and Michael. Their contracts never work, but child, let's see what they got to say. AJ asked about the engagement and the ring, and Rhoda was like, if he gives me his word, then we can move forward. You know what? I don't have time to play with y'all, so I'm going to move forward. I'm done with them. Moving forward. Over to Ajua and Styles P. They're up next. AJ asked about them putting their personal life before work, and they said they're going to do that, and they're going to give each other more romance and weekly dinners. Over to Shamari and Ronnie. I wish Shamari would just shift that wig up just a little bit. Baby, that wig was sitting so far back. I said, Shamari. Oh my goodness, I can see Shamari's thoughts. Honey, please shift that wig up a little bit. Honey, where's Sheree when you need her? Sheree good for a good wig shifting. But I just want her to pull that wig up just a taste. But anywho, that's just a side note. She said she wants to make some things clear because it seems like she just left, got with a woman and fell in love, but there was a reason why she did that. Okay, let's hear it. She was like, I did that because he wasn't listening to me. I felt like I had no voice. There was no love there. I felt like I was a roommate. Oh, okay. So you know that Shamari got with Ronnie when she was really young. So basically, she was young and Ronnie was treating her like a child, not a spouse. And I can see that because even sometimes now when he speaks to her like a fatherly figure. Ronald, she is your wife. Okay? So you need to treat her as such. But Shamari, there ain't no excuse to go over and fall in love, child, with somebody else's Hello Kitty. Girl, so they decide to put the twins out of the bed and work on their love languages. Y'all better not have these twins in between y'all in this bed. Girl, absolutely not, honey. The babies sleep in their bed. I started that early, honey. At 3 months old, my son was in his crib, never to return to my bed. Even now, he's like, Mommy, can I sleep? No. And you know why I tell him no? Not because I don't love him and I don't want him to, cuddle with mommy. It's because I don't want him to pick that up as a routine. Because once you put these kids in your bed, it's just something about mama's bed that's much better than your own. And honey, you can't never get them out. On to Nick and Kiana. Her contract is she wants peace and quiet for a day or two. And his was sex every Wednesday. Nick, what the hell? AJ said, why are those things you have to ask for? If you work on your relationship and work on what's deeper, you don't have to ask for those things. Exactly, because those are things you should have already been getting. Peace and quiet for a day or two and some sex. Okay. Last but not least, Jess and Daniel. Baby. Jess comes out, honey, and she is ready to say what it is she has to say. So Jess tells him his actions in response to her are what pissed her off. And she's like, you shouldn't be treating me like that. You need to talk to me like that. So he tries to interject. And John tried to say something as well. She said, no, because I have not been able to say anything. I've been waiting to say these things. So Jess is coming in hot, honey. She left it all bottled up and now it's coming out. So Jess is basically relieving him of his duties permanently. I know that's right, y'all. To move forward, Jess said they need to work on being just friends. Girl, you rented that man for this show and it's time for Mr. Paid in Full to go to hell on. But it's nice that you're saying what you need to say, honey, and speaking your speech all over him. Daniel, thank you for your services. In the next scene, they move on and have one last dinner and Daniel makes a toast. Okay, so he gets up. He's like, I want to say this one last thing. So he tells everyone how him and Jess decided not to be a couple. Why do you feel the need to stand up and act like it was your idea? See, this is why people can't stand you. This has nothing to do with your mom in the 80s and you not knowing your daddy. This is a character flaw. This is who you are. So he apologized. Boy, sit your silly behind down. Sit your crazy tail down. So then Jess lets the table know, listen, this was my decision. Daniel apologized in front of people because he said he embarrassed her in front of people. Child, whatever. Shamari and Ronnie get up to perform their new hit song, Sweeping the Nation. I just want to say this. Shamari's voice is awesome. The girl can sing down. That voice of hers is something else. Her and Kiki Wyatt, they have such beautiful voices to me. And they are so underrated. I really wish she would get in the studio and put out a real album and stop waiting around for whatever it is she waiting around for Black to get back together. No, girl. Go ahead and do your own thing. Let me see them shoulders bouncing. Go and do your own thing, child. So Jess, in her little confessional, she said, I'm leaving with a friend. You're never too old to make friends, even if your friend is old. Jess, I'm not about to play with you, girl. Goodbye. Go on, girl. Go on. So after they get done singing, Michael was like, I can't leave here with Rada being mad at me. So he goes up to the front to put the ring back on Rada's finger, but the side chicks are staying. Get off my screen. Get off my screen. And that's a wrap. Listen, I wish all of the real couples much success and I wish you the best. And that was the end of the season. Y'all comment down below and tell me exactly what you thought about season 2. It went by really fast. I mean, it didn't really give nothing, but it was something to watch, y'all. Please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.